everyone. We've got Rob from the Doctor Who show back with us. We met him recently and he talked about his journey through Big Finish. He's aimed to get through every story in order. It's an exciting challenge he's set himself. But we're going to discuss the first 10 stories. Robert likes a bit of a list, and he's put together a bit of a list. So, Rob, tell us what struck you in terms of the first 10 stories.
What struck me was something I'd known for a long time, because I had tried to start the monthly adventures in the past, and I got stuck on the first few, and I thought they weren't particularly good. Actually, this even goes back further than me trying to do that. This goes back to when the Sirens of Time first came out, and our ex-local club president had imported a CD from the UK. And I said, what's it like? Is it amazing? There's Davo, there's Colin, there's Sylve. And he's like, I don't think it's so good. And we sat there one night and he re-listened to it with me, listening for the first time. And I thought, yeah, this isn't so great. So that sort of put me off immediately, right back in the day. And then over the years, I'd try and start again, and I'd do the Sirens of Time, Whispers of Terror, Phantasmagoria. I was like, this just isn't connecting with me at all. And that's where I'd sort of quit. But later in that first 10, there is some great stuff. And I can't believe it's taken me so long, actually, to hear them.
Okay, so we've got this list of 10. People can actually go to a blog that you've done and have a look. But we'll just quickly run through the first 10. So you've put as number 1, The Marian Conspiracy.
Oh, absolutely. I thought this was the absolute standout in the first 10. It introduced me to Evelyn Smythe, who everyone had raved about and said she's great with Colin. Of course, Colin's putting in a good performance. It's historical. I thought this was just fantastic. Jacqueline Rayner, hats off. Brilliant.
Had you listened to this before then, or was this the first time?
No, this was my first time.
So you've had all these CDs and not listened to them?
Some of these I don't have on CD. I've had them as downloads. It was mostly the 8th Doctor stuff I bought on CD. But yes, I have had them as downloads for a long time. And look, I know they're on, they're on Spotify, aren't they, for free?
A lot of them on Spotify now, yeah. Early ones.
Like the first 50 or something at least, and I've not even listened to it on Spotify. I'm crazy.
You are crazy, but that's okay. You're getting wiser now. So number 1 is Marian Conspiracy, and then you put Spectre of Lanyon Moor. Why was that by Nicholas Pegg? Why's that number 2?
I thought it was just lovely to hear the Brigadier back. You know, quite simply. And I thought it was a great story. And of these 10, those two just stood out the most to me. I don't think Spectre of Lanyon Moor was as good as the Marian Conspiracy, but it's still up there. And if someone was saying, out of this top 10, what are the best 2? I'd have to say Marian Conspiracy and Spectre.
So both Colin, both Evelyn.
Yeah. They've had a real effect on me, straight away.
Okay, Genocide Machine by Mike Tucker.
Yeah, Mike Tucker's a great author. I've always liked his stuff, which I'm familiar with through, the novels he's written over the years. He's an old school kind of guy. He seems to get Doctor Who. He writes good fun adventures, and here it was no different. I think he particularly likes Sylve and Sophie as well. I mean, he wrote the coffee table book Ace, co-wrote it with Sophie, so he knows the characters. It's a Dalek story. It was quite good. I quite liked it.
Okay, and the next 2 you've also put in the top 5. You put Land of the Dead and Fearmonger.
Yes. Now, Land of the Dead is a Davo story, so how could I not have it in the top 5? But you'll also see I've got a Davo story in the bottom 5. No, I thought that was really clever with Davo and Nyssa, the companion that, Davo always wanted to, see what it would be like just to have Nyssa around. It works really well, I think. And up in Alaska, in this cut-off sort of snowy environment, I thought it was a really clever story. Really good, really enjoyable.
You divided very much the first 5 and bottom. It said there was a bottom 5, so there was some that you didn't like as much. Actually, you said Davo. There's quite a few Davos in the second half.
That's true, actually.
Because I think Red Dawn, I think Winter for the Adept, Phantasmagoria, is that?
That's Davo.
Davo 2, and Sirens of Audio. So in fact, 4 of your bottom 5 have Davo.
The Sirens of what, Philip?
Sir. I only think Sirens of Audio now, Dwayne. Yeah, Sirens of Time. Well, how did you get the name for Sirens of Audio? So 4 out of the 5 in the bottom you've put Davo into.
Yeah, and that's more to do with the stories, I think, because Davo, acts his socks off. Davo is Davo. I love Davo. But these stories he's in here, I just couldn't get into. I mean, look, in Sirens of Time, was it Davo in the U-boat?
Yeah, it was.
That was
a
the
great
U-boat.
story.
That was probably the best episode of Sirens of Time. But as a whole, I didn't like the whole thing. Red Dawn, again, it almost made it into the best, but it just didn't quite get there for me either. You know, Ice Warriors are so limited. They seem to do exactly the same thing every time they appear in Doctor Who. And this really was no different.
One of the best Ice Warrior stories is actually a Benny story. There's a pretty stunning one with Benny, but that's another journey for you to go on later on.
The interesting thing about Red Dawn is that none of the Ice Warriors are played by Nick Briggs. So later on, he will do all the Ice Warriors pretty much. But here in these early ones, it's an interesting example of non-Nick Briggs Ice Warriors.
So the bottom 5 you put was Red Dawn, Winter for the Adept, Phantasmagoria, Science of Time, and Whisper Terror. Dwayne, what do you think about his list of the bottom 5? Would you defend any of those?
Yes, I am definitely defending Whispers of Terror. I know it's universally canned by fans across the board of even Big Finish, but I've always failed to understand why it's so despised. It is one that's specifically written for audio. It can't work in anything else. So I think for that alone, it's a very, very clever story. Got Peter Miles in it too. Love hearing him. And I think it's a really scary monster. So I think it works really well. Justin Richards is still writing for Big Finish today. He's one of the ones that's been there from the start and still going. So he was finding his feet, sure, but in a very good way, I think. So that's my little defence for Whispers of Terror.
I mean, I'd still put Sirens of Time much higher. I actually like Body Doctor stories. I think what they tried to do was good, and I think there's a couple of really great episodes in there. And also Winter for the Adept. Actually, I think that's got a few good things. It's got India Fisher in it as well, in a different role. It's interesting. We had Joe Sims on last podcast, well, recently, and one of the things we said to Joe Sims was, we know he must be a nice guy, because when you play a few characters in Big Finish and they bring you back as a companion, it means they want to hang around you. And Evelyn Smythe, so Maggie Stable, she was in Science of Time. I'm going to get stuck on that all the time. And they brought her back as Evelyn. India Fisher was in Land of the Dead, and they brought her back. So they find actors, they think, we love these actors, we want to bring them back.
Rob, did you realise that it was Maggie Stables in Sirens of Time? So Evelyn, playing the old hag. That's Evelyn.
Not at all.
There you go, yes, so that's there. So her and, because that was directed and written by Nick Briggs, and he and Maggie Stables had worked together in a couple of plays. So that's how he knew Maggie and brought her in, and then decided, they wanted to keep her as a character.
It was actually her characterisation in the first episode of Sirens of Time that sort of turned me off a little bit, but after getting to know Evelyn, I can go back to Sirens of Time now, hear Maggie Stables, and I'm okay with it now. But when I first heard it was kind of, a bit off-putting.
That cackling witchy sort of character.
Yeah.
They like that. Well, listen, thank you for your list of 10, Rob. That's interesting to see, and we're looking forward to hearing what you think about the next 10 episodes, because we introduce a new Doctor into the mix when that happens. So we'll talk to you soon.
Okay.